Z Force, also known as Tura Brigade, was the first military brigade of Bangladesh forces formed during the Liberation War of Bangladesh in 1971 under Major Ziaur Rahman, along with the consent of the revolutionary government of Bangladesh in exile. The brigade was formed with the 1st, 3rd and 8th Battalion of East Bengal Regiment on 7 July 1971. It is the first ever complete brigade formed during the Liberation War of Bangladesh. In 1971, background: Bangladeshi military officers of various cantonments revolted against the Pakistani army and started fighting against them with limited ammunition. On the night of 25 March 1971, after the crackdown by Pakistani army, but soon the military officers of Bangladesh forces realized that such non-planned attack or resistance will not be able to create huge casualties of the foes. So they decided to form some sectors from which they can fight properly. The guerrillas sent from the India during May to June to various sectors were ill-equipped, not properly trained, and hence were unsuccessful in almost every operations. Most of the guerrillas were caught or shot dead by Pakistani army. The lack of communication between the sector commanders and the Indian military officers also created major casualties to the guerrillas sent by the Indian officers to Bangladesh. Wherever the guerrillas were caught or killed, Pakistani army in search of the other members of them used to start arson in many villages and killed numerous innocent people to take revenge. In this situation, senior military officers assumed that the war will continue for a long time and decided to form some brigades to fight with the Pakistani army more effectively, especially in the frontiers. Inception: after the sector commanders meeting held at 8 Theatre Road of Kolkata, the 1st Brigade of Bangladesh forces was formed. Major Ziaur Rahman, who was promoted to lieutenant colonel during the Liberation War of Bangladesh, was the senior-most officer amongst the officers present there, and he was given the command of the force. Though the brigade was formed after the meeting, the decision to form the force was decided earlier. Chief of Bangladesh Forces Mag Osmani himself told Major Moin-ul Hussain about the decision on 13 June 1971. But according to the Gazette of the Government of Bangladesh, the force is known to be formed on 7 July 1971. The headquarters of the brigade was at El Tala of Tura in India. Formation and training: the Z Force established the camp in the remote Tura area of Meghalaya, but with massive spirit and interest for the freedom, people of various ages and occupations gathered under the brigade. Z Force had to organize themselves properly. It was formed with 1st, 3rd and 8th Battalion of East Bengal Regiment. Of them, the 1st Battalion of East Bengal Regiment, who revolted in Jessore cantonment under Major Hafiz, was unable to escape safely, and after fighting a crucial battle only 50 of the Bengali officers and soldiers were able to reach the border. The 8th Battalion of East Bengal Regiment was a newly formed battalion with limited power. The 3rd Battalion of East Bengal Regiment also faced casualties. In this situation, the military headquarters of Bangladesh forces ordered Major Hafizuddin Ahmed and Major Sariful Haq Daleen to recruit 600 youths in 1st Battalion of East Bengal Regiment and another collect 500 youths and join Z Force in Tura. Major Hafizuddin Ahmed recruited 600 youths from the youth camps from Kulnakusha border area. The total number of the members in 1st Battalion of East Bengal Regiment was 800 while joining the Z Force. Another 500 members collected by Major Shariful Haq Daleen amplified the strength of 3rd Battalion of East Bengal Regiment. Major Moin-ul Hussain Chowdhury, who acted as the commanding officer officer of the 1st Battalion of East Bengal Regiment was asked to format the battalion. The commandant the charge to organize the 3rd Battalion of East Bengal Regiment was given to Major Shafayat Zamal, and the responsibility of a Battalion of East Bengal Regiment was given to Azm Amin al-Haq. After a training session of 6 weeks, Z Force turned into a valiant brigade of Bangladesh forces. Organogram of the brigade: Brigade Commander Major Ziaur Rahman, Brigade Major Captain Ali Ahmed, DQ Officer Captain Sadek, Signal Officer Captain Abdul Halim, Brigade Medical Officer Abdul Hamia. 1st East Bengal Regiment Commanding Officer Major Moinul Hussain Chowdhury and Major Ziadan. 2nd in Command Captain Baslal Ghani Patwari. Adjutant Flight Lieutenant Liakar Ali Khan. Her Company Commander Captain Mahbubur Rahman. B Company Commander Captain Hafizuddin Ahmed. 1st C Company Commander Lieutenant Abdul Qayyum Chowdhury. 2nd C Company Commander Lieutenant S. H. B. Noor Chowdhury. D Company Commander Captain Salafuddin Momtaz and Baslal Ghani Patwari. A Company Officer Lieutenant Waqar Hassan. B Company Officer Lieutenant Hanaisur Rahman. Medical Officer Lieutenant Mujibur Rahman Fakir. 3rd East Bengal Regiment Commanding Officer Major Shafat Jamil. 2nd in Command Captain Mohsen. Her Company Commander Captain Anwar Hussain. B Company Commander Captain Akbar Hussain. C Company Commander Captain Mohsenuddin Ahmed. D Company Commander Lieutenant S.I. B. Nunabi Khan. MF Company Commander Lieutenant Manjur Ahmed. Company Officer Lieutenant Faisal Hussain. Medical Officer Waziuddin. 8th East Bengal Regiment Commanding Officer Major A.Z.M. Amin al-Haq. 2nd in Command Captain Khalokuzzaman Chowdhury. Her Company Commander Captain Amin Ahmed Chowdhury. B Company Commander Captain Sadiq Hussain. C Company Commander Lieutenant Modassir Hussain Khan. D Company Commander Lieutenant Mahbubul Alam. Company Officer Lieutenant Imdadul Haq. Company Officer Lieutenant Oliul Islam. Company Officer Lieutenant Munibur Rahman. Company Officer Lieutenant K. M. Abu Baker. 2nd Field Artillery Battery Officer in Charge Major Kandaka Abdur Rashid. Officer Captain Rash Chowdhury. Officer Lieutenant Sazad Ali Zahir. Major Operations Carmelpur Border Outpost Attack. Carmelpur was a strong Pakistani border outpost situated on the mouth of the old Brahmaputra River and on the road link with Mymensingh via Jamalpur. It contained concrete bunkers with shell-proof roofs. Communication trenches were dug in to provide communication between the bunkers. The defense had in its perimeter booby traps and minefield. The Pakistani troops used to fall back on the inner line of defense in hours of darkness. Under the command of Commanding Officer Major Moinul Hussain Chowdhury, the attack was launched on July 31, 1971. The attack was made with 2 companies Delta and Bravo from the north, east of the enemy camp. Captain Salafuddin Momtaz was in Quetta. In a desperate attempt he was successful in escaping to his motherland during early July and reported to Z Force. Salahuddin Momtaz joined 1 East Bengal. The battalion at the time was contemplating to launch a big offensive. In order, therefore, to undertake such an operation, information about the enemy was vital. Salahuddin Momtaz was one of those who were sent on reconnaissance missions to collect information about the enemy. He at times conducted some very daring reconnaissance missions at Carmelpur border outpost. During one such mission he ran across an enemy patrol which indicated to the enemy the aggressive posture. Enemy strength at Carmelpur was immediately raised to 2 companies of 31 Balak excluding Razakars. The information was thus obtained and a plan was made. The attack was to be launched from the northeast of the enemy post with 2 companies, Delta on the left and Bravo on the right, commanded respectively by Salahuddin Momtaz and Hafiz. They moved from the assembly area with Delta Company leading, followed by Bravo Company. Next in order was the Battalion Orders Group, where in addition to Moin, the battalion commander Ziaur was also present. Our own artillery was programmed to provide covering fire. The attacking troops were absolutely raw. There was a bit of confusion at the forming up place, resulting in a delay in the move. It was all due to the officer's personal example and motivation that the troops started moving on to the objective. As they moved towards the objective, the enemy artillery also opened up. The troops came under a very heavy fire and started sustaining casualties. The movement became slow. Since the bulk of the troops did not have previous war experience, they began to go to ground more frequently from the enemy shelling. Salahuddin played a heroic role at this stage in reviving the morale of his troops. They then moved on. The outer perimeter was being vacated by the enemy. The troops entered the outer perimeter and began to cross the minefield. The enemy was bringing in effective fire from the shell-proof bunkers of the inner defense. The battle started gaining momentum as the number of casualties started piling up. But there was no going back. Salahuddin Momtaz, who had dynamic leadership quality, was leading the troops into the inner defense. Shouting at the top of his voice, he was directing his men and chanting words of encouragement to them. An embodiment of courage himself, Salahuddin Momtaz snubbed one of his faithful soldiers, saying, "Jafar Khan has not yet been able to manufacture the bullet that would kill me." Those were not the last words. 2 shells dropped in front of Salahuddin Momtaz. Twice he shook and then all was over. Salahuddin Momtaz murmured, "If you have to die, die after killing the enemy. Die on the soil of Bangladesh." Salahuddin's body could not be retrieved. 3 soldiers died in their attempt to retrieve the dead body of the beloved leader. However, his watch, Sten gun and some papers were retrieved. Hafiz miraculously escaped death. His Sten gun was blown off by an enemy artillery shell splinter and was injured. Naik Rabiul ran in the face of enemy fire to evacuate Hafiz to safety, but he was mortally injured there. The death of Salahuddin Momtaz and injury of Hafiz left the 2 attacking companies in a state of chaos and confusion. The community center situated behind the forming up place was getting filled with battle casualties. Ultimately at 7:30 Moin ordered the battalion to withdraw. The lack of communication between the companies was the reason of casualties suffered by the freedom fighters in the battle. The wireless given by the India was not up to the mark in quality, which was later informed to the Indian Chief of Military Forces. The heavy rain that occurred that day was also a reason of the defeat. The Pakistani army also suffered a lot in this battle. At least 200 of them died in this battle. Naqshi border outpost attack. Naqshi border outpost was situated in the Sherpur district, where the Pakistan army formed a strong position. The border outpost became a target of Z force because of its geographical importance. Soon Captain Amin Ahmed Chowdhury, the commander of Alpha Company, and Lieutenant Modassar Hussain Khan, the commander of Charlie Company, was sent to defeat the Pakistanis of that camp. The 2 companies with great speed ran into the area and were able to enter into the 50 yards region. With great show of courage, they attacked the position of Pakistani army. The Pakistanis fled from the camp and took shelter in a forest which was nearby. But soon they attacked the freedom fighters with mortar shell with field mines, also interrupting the operation of the Z force companies. In this battle Captain Amin Ahmed got injured from 2 machine gun bullets. Major Amin ul Haq saved him, risking his life. Battle at Gashipur. On 10 September the Delta Company of 1st Battalion of East Bengal Regiment formed a strong defence at the Gashipur. Gashipur was a location near the Carmelpur border outpost. Gashipur was considered as a lifeline of the strong position of Pakistan Army in Carmelpur. Pakistani Army was anxious about the safety in Carmelpur due to the strong position of the Z force in Gashipur. To remain safe from the sudden attack of freedom fighters, Pakistan Army launched an attack on the Gashipur defence of Z force. The attempt of cleansing the freedom fighters from Gashipur went up in smoke. Pakistan Army had to flee at the end of the battle after suffering huge casualties. Lance Nayak Yusuf and Subedar Mosammal of the regiment was martyred in the battle. Defense of liberated zone. One of the prime objectives of Z Force was to cover the liberated zones in northern Bangladesh during the Liberation War of Bangladesh. As a part of this operation, Z Force liberated many areas and set up defense to save those areas from Pakistan Army from August 1971. Establishment of administration in Rumari, an area from Kurigram, was liberated in late August. After being acquired by the Z Force, Ziaur Rahman directed Lieutenant S.I.B. Nunabi Khan of 3rd East Bengal Regiment to establish an administration on behalf of the Provisional Government of Bangladesh. Shafat Jamil was asked to set up formidable defense to save the area from further invasion of Pakistan Army. Lieutenant Nabi, after getting the order, formed a committee of eminent citizens of that area to establish an administration and make it properly functional. He formed some offices and other establishments, including a hospital in Rumari within 27th of August. Ziaur Rahman inaugurated the first ever administration system in a liberated area of independent Bangladesh on August 27 of 1971. NBC Network made a documentary that included the liberated zone of Rumari, which was entitled as A Country Made for Disaster. Bibliography. Anthony Mascarenas, Bangladesh, A Legacy of Blood, Hodder and Stoughton, ISBN 0-343-942-0-X. Hassan, Moidul, Prathama Prakasana, ISBN 9788800,765,227. Irfan Shamsul, UPL, ISBN 9789848942444. Murshid Gulam, Prathama Prakasana, ISBN 9789800,765,371. Hussain Chowdhury, Moinul Maola Bradaza, ISBN 984-410175-1. Ahmed Hafizuddin, Sahitya Prakasa, ISBN 984-465-1247.